Who does not have cap space? Boy, there's a couple of people in really salary cap hell. And New Orleans has got all types of cap problems. And I'm not sure how they're going to get out from under it because they had two guys arrive simultaneously as superstars and they had to keep them. Kamara is getting a phenomenal amount of money. Michael Thomas has had 2 years of injuries. He's getting a phenomenal amount of money. And then they drafted offensive linemen whose contracts came up, and their defensive end Cam Jordan's making mega bucks. So the Saints got some really tough decisions to make as to who they're going to cut loose. Tampa Bay, for a sub 500 team, they got a real series of contract problems. And I think there's going to be a shedding of guys off that roster, probably starting with Tom Brady, just like there's been a shedding of coaches from Todd Bowles' coaching staff. So Tampa Bay's got contract problems. Jacksonville, obviously they got the quarterback and they've got some defensive players. They've got some salary cap issues. They got some dead money issues. And then the whole Green Bay quandary, Aaron Rodgers, love me not, the amount of money that kicks in with this coming year's contract, et cetera. What do they do with him? So they got some cap issues. The Chargers, they've got cap issues because the amount of money they're paying to Keenan Allen and to Mike Williams, that's a combined $36 million to their wide receivers. You know, one of the rumblings out there, are they going to release Keenan Allen because of the cap? Are they going to try to trade Keenan Allen? What they should do, if I were king.
Well, you are the franchise.
Bleeping right I am. If I were king, I would go to Keenan Allen and said, you've made a lot of money. Now you've had a lot of injuries. I need you to take a pay cut. I can't have you count $21.7 million against my cap. They can't do that to Mike Williams because they just gave him this contract extension that pays him $15 million per season. So I don't think they would do that. I'd be shocked if they hit the eject button on Keenan Allen at this point. But they got cap problems. And obviously the Rams have got salary cap problems too. And that's because of the kind of contracts they gave to Aaron Donald at the end of this past off season and the amount of money that Matthew Stafford's knocking down. I don't think they're going to ask either of those guys to restructure their contracts, but there'll have to be some adjustments there. Even though the cap is going up, you know, you got every player on the roster is probably getting a pay bump. You got draft picks, you got free agency. So the Chargers and Rams are going to have to move some money around, I would hope, without moving guys off their roster.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, the calculus that these teams go through, because contracts are not guaranteed, right? They could just cut a guy and they can clear space immediately.
But the signing bonuses are guaranteed.
Right.
And if I cut you, John Riley, from this podcast, the signing bonus I paid you to put this together moves to the front of the line and you kill me in this year's coming cap.
Well, okay.
There's no prorated signing bonus. It's plain and simple. If I trade you and I gave you a big bonus, if I cut you, I have to swallow the cap hit. In some cases, there are teams that have dead money, $15 million players that they got rid of, traded or released or retired. You're on the hook for the cap. So it's as you say, calculus. And I was never good in arithmetic. Calculus in the NFL is really complicated.
Yeah, it's something. So we're going to see these teams have to make some really, interesting moves. It's amazing how some teams are so far over the cap, yet other teams are so far under. So it makes you wonder, are some of these teams that are under the cap, are they really playing to compete to win, or are they just trying to be competitive?
No, they're bad franchises who have a lot of young players, because in the NFL, much like the NBA and hockey, but not in baseball, in the NFL, you have to spend to a floor. The cap is going to be 224. The floor this coming year might be 216.
Oh, wow.
You got to spend to the cap. Now, if you're a little bit under the cap, you can carry that money and it goes into the next year's cap. But no, the NFL does not allow you to have an Oakland A's baseball franchise operation where your payroll is $39 million and everybody else is, the Yankees is like $219 million. NFL does not allow that. So we'll keep an eye on the salary cap as we get to right after the Super Bowl is when the new fiscal year kicks in.